Welcome everyone, and welcome to Discussions. Everything, by the way, everything okay, camera person? You look a little concerned. We're having here in the Garden State of New Jersey, in northeastern New Jersey, we're having like 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts because the big fat rat apparently was right about an early spring, you know. But anyway, I'm here with my mentor and co-host, the Reverend Dr. William J Eisenmann at the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. How are you, sir, today?
Fine. Except for this wind.
Except for this wind, but the show must go on, like P.T. Barnum says. It is. Now you're gonna get me going early with the comedy, even though this is a very serious organization. It is Saturday. It is Saturday, February. What the hell is it?
Looks like the 19th to me.
February 19th, 2011.
Yeah.
And it's very. I'm very happy that we're going to have an early spring because we've had one of the worst winters in history for this country.
Wait a second.
Coming off the worst summer.
What about the winter at Valley Forge? That was pretty dying bad.
Oh yeah, that's right. Homes back then didn't have the insulation that they have now, did they?
Yeah.
George Washington's home in Mount Vernon, I'm sure it was not very well insulated. Now, incidentally, speaking of old times, I used to go every Halloweeny. I used to go up to Salem, Massachusetts, if it happened to be on a weekend, because if it was on a weekday, it was dead. But if it was on a weekend, it was like Mardi Gras up there. It was packed. Anyway, packed with a bunch of lushes that totally trashed the town, and it cost like over $150,000 to clean up Salem because the local people told me they do not look forward to Halloween. But anyway, I went to the House of the Seven Gables, and lo and behold, I'm tall, so I had to crouch over, otherwise I hit my head everywhere. And anyway, they did everything in a large, extra large jumbo fireplace. They cooked, they got their warmth, everything was based on this super jumbo fireplace. And the beds, Reverend Bill, it was like stuffed with straw. There were like big sacks stuffed with straw. That was the what do you call the Posturepedic, Sealy Posturepedic. What's that other one? What's that new mattress now? Tempur-Pedic.
Tempur-Pedic.
That was the Tempur-Pedic of 300 some odd years ago.
And then they put that big frying pan with the coals in it under the bed, for warmth.
Life was rough back then. It really was. The infant mortality rate and death during child labor. Women going into labor, and the lifespan was not as high. It was a rough time. They had different problems, but getting highly nutritious organic food was not one of them. They got plenty of that. And
variety was a problem back then.
Variety?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, now, this is Discussions. Of course I said that. This is an Irish shillelagh handmade in Ireland. This is an authentic shillelagh because St. Patrick's Day is really not that far away from us. It's what? It's March
17th, I think.
March 17th. And to you Irish Americans out there, if you're looking for a great product, a gift to give your fellow Irish American, and you want to buy some high quality imported Irish things, artifacts, conversation objects, okay, heirlooms, whatever you want to call them, go to the largest supplier, the best supplier of the finest authentic Irish imports, the best selection, which is www.xaviergifts.com. That is XAVIER gifts.com, and get yourself one of a very wide selection of Irish imported products, which is where the shillelagh came from. This happens to be the shillelagh that the British banned many years ago as a weapon. This is not the walking stick form of shillelagh. This is the weapon grade shillelagh made of fine, high quality blackthorn wood. And this is my new prop because this is symbolic of the right-wing conservative endorsed modern-day monarchy, the corporate plutocracy that is oppressing the poor and the middle class of America today, even though your Tea Party protesters would have you think otherwise. They seem to not believe that. They believe in the bullshit conservative propaganda. But this is symbolic because the British monarchy severely oppressed the Irish for centuries. And this is symbolic of the fight of the little guy up against the fat cats. Okay? The shillelagh. And this is my new prop, whether you people like it or not. All right? Maybe it
has... It's destined for some Republicans' heads.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though I could use it to crack walnuts and almonds. But I would much rather crack a Republican skull, a right-wing Republican, you know, oh, this is perfect for Bill O'Reilly's skull. or the comment that Congress Speaker, Weeper of the House, Congressman John Boehner, whatever, said that you bet we will be making a lot of tax cuts. You know, he made a statement recently that he emphasized, oh, we will definitely be making cuts. Yeah, I'm sure you will, Congressman John Boehner. You'll be making a lot of cuts from the poor, and I am quite sure you'll be making a lot of tax cuts from the rich, like all right-wing conservatives do. And
their cuts are always in the wrong places.
Right. Now, before I start with my monologue, put me shillelagh somewhere. Before I start, is the red dot in the right place? Above?
I guess
camera
but,
person.
I don't know about the. I don't know about the glare.
Well, Bill. Well, okay. But okay, here it is. The best way to be a part of our organization, because I thought, let me get this over with at the beginning. The very best way to be a part of our organization is to get your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work of Newsletter Censored, founded by my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenmann, in 1977. Believe it or not. It's been out long already. This newsletter contains more information than our talk shows or our websites. This newsletter contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, human sexuality, health, and child rearing. Okay, this is a sample of the new issue called, it is titled The Hidden Enemy by William J. Eisenmann, PhD, and followed by Health Talk with James P. Madonna, yours truly. Once in a big while, I put a Health Talk article in here because there's not always room, and I don't always have, something to write about. Then there's The God Project by William J. Eisenmann, Doctor of Divinity. Sometimes there's tidbits, which are based on very important current news subjects, headlines. And then there is Sexuality, a Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenmann, PhD, at the end. But this is it. The best way to be a part of our organization, get it now. And learn how to defeat a conservative. And learn the real hard-hitting truth. Not what the right-wing conservative Tea Party whores, your so-called political leaders tell you. The false conservative propaganda. Don't listen to them. This contains the real hard-hitting truth. Now,
and remember, all of this stuff that is now coming to fruition.
Fruition?
Fruition.
So
with the conservatives, with their taking over, has all been prophesied in the newsletter since 1977.
Oh yeah.
This is not just jumping on the bandwagon now.
Yeah, because most, what am I saying? Probably 99.9% of all of the newsletters ever written by William J. Eisenmann, Ph.D., the Reverend Dr. Bill, never goes out of style, because they apparently and unfortunately the problems then are the same problems we're having today.
Only worse.
Only worse, only magnified, but they're all timeless, basically. So, every article, every newsletter that you get, save it in your personal archives, because the issues haven't changed. There's nothing new under the sun. Wasn't that in the Bible somewhere? Okay, now, this guy right next to me, before I forget. Hold on. Well, this is the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenmann's self-portrait. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenmann is a fine watercolor artist. And you can check out the William J. Eisenmann collection by going to newslettercensored.com, www.myspace.com/megalife21, the William J. Eisenmann Facebook profile, okay? And check it out. Check out all of his fine work. And if any is available, drop him, send him an email. The bidding starts at $500. Fine watercolor paintings by William J. Eisenmann, watercolor artist. We do have, obviously, we do also have class here at Megalife 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet, and Newsletter Censored, because paintings done from scratch by a truly highly talented individual shows class. Okay, now, before I begin reading some information here, we're going to take a tiny break. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Greetings, everyone. We're back. Now, going to go over some important topics. Now, oh, excuse me. Might as well get this out of the way. From what I understand, Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenmann, Sarah Palin has finally made up her mind about running for president in 2012, or she's still debating it?
They all are debating it because it is not time to put yourself into the Federal Election Commission yet. So any talk about it is just talk.
Well, it's just talk. Well, Sarah Palin...
Nobody's listed as...
Sarah Palin, the political moron, is just talk. Let me do a little Sarah Palin imitation. I call her the human slide whistle simply because when she gives a speech, her voice goes it goes low and then very high-pitched and annoying, like scratching a chalkboard. Sarah Nailin' Palin. Speaking of Nailin' Palin, that's a porno movie with a girl that looks amazingly just like Sarah Palin. It's a pretty hot movie, but not to have her run the country, but to make a porno. That's my imitation of Sarah Nailin' Palin. For those that do not like the sound of the slide whistle, it's too fucking goddamn bad. Because I heard something in the background. Seriously. It's too fucking bad. But that's Sarah fucking... I'm sorry. That's Sarah Palin, the human slide whistle. Gee. Heaven forbid an important video show should stop for one furry creature. Reverend Bill, I was on the E channel. There's a program. I believe it's called "My Child is Going to Be Famous," and what it was these poor children And I know there's another one where people, mostly stage mothers, enroll their little daughters, very young children, in beauty contests with tons of makeup and everything. And these are stage mothers. These are very pushy and obnoxious and overbearing stage mothers that try to, I suppose, vicariously live through their young daughters by forcing them and pushing them to take dancing and or singing lessons. And if the child makes one tiny mistake, they yell at them, and they have to sit with the instructor as they're, of course they're paying a lot of money. This one girl was taking ballet lessons, and I think the mother paid $8,000 for the lessons. But these mothers always have to be present, sitting there, giving instructions, interfering with the teacher. Frankly, I mean, if I was the teacher, I'd throw the mother the fuck out of the room. I'd say, I can't, and they told them time after time, you're going to ruin it for your child, because the child cannot have two instructors saying things from two different directions, shouting from two different directions that you're making mistakes. You cannot teach that way.
Can't have two masters.
Yeah, like if you're trying to teach a student and you're being paid as a professional teacher, you cannot have the mother interfering. And these women get upset when the child says, but Ma, I'm really not interested in playing this musical instrument or enrolling in this nationwide contest. I really do not want to do this. I have another passion. And the mother doesn't want to hear about it. They're forcing their children to do things that the child really does not want to do, forgetting that the child is still an individual. You know what I mean? It's still a person, but they're imposing their will and their desires onto the child. Now, they equate it with love, but actuality, it seems like an obsession to control. It sounds like these older women, most likely most of them are postmenopausal, are control freaks. Now, do you think there's a psychology behind that?
Oh, certainly, but it could be the drive to live through the child, like you said.
Yeah, and some of them are yuppies. All of them have big bucks, and for some reason, these goal-oriented, Type A personality, high-income yuppies are trying to force their kids to achieve so young without allowing the child to experience their childhood, similar to what happened to poor Michael Jackson. Let the kid be a kid. A child is only a child for a limited amount of time. And they have this thing on TV where they're trying to get their baby to learn how to speak. Come on, give me a break. Let the kid be a kid. Oh, excuse me. I have to let the cat out of the bag.
There you go.
Or let the kitty outside. I'm sorry. It's very windy out there, but if you want to go outside, then she has to go outside. What are you going to do? Anyway. Where was I? Alright, that's it. Pushy, obnoxious, high-income, control-freak mothers who just have to control their children because maybe there's something missing in their lives, so they have to impose their insanity, these rich bastards, on their children, and be control freaks. They just have to have what they want. Like babies. They take tantrums on TV. Typical rich people. Now, I just want to say, here at Mega Life 21 and Newsletter Censored, I want to send my condolences to the family of character actor Len Lesser, who played Uncle Leo on Seinfeld. May he rest in peace, poor Uncle Leo. For those of you that are a big Seinfeld fan like me, Uncle Leo played the annoying uncle. I mean, Len Lester played the annoying Uncle Leo, and may he rest in peace. He played many other roles before that. Okay, but in the gangster movies and.
No, I mean the Seinfeld episode, most known is the pen. Remember when he got the pen?
No, that wasn't Uncle Leo. That was Jack Clumpus. The pen that writes upside down, the astronaut pen. No, he died too, poor guy. Jack Clumpus, yeah, he died too. But Jerry Stiller's still alive and kicking. He's back together with Ann Mira. They have like a thing, they're doing comedy again, which is good. But anyway, and he's on The King of Queens. But anyway, yeah, Len Lesser, Uncle Leo. Now, this is really infuriating. Medicare fraud. Recently, 111 total healthcare practitioners, 100 of them doctors. News came out of Miami. Dr. Bill, was there an article in the newspaper about this Medicare fraud recently?
I'm sure there was.
Shame on you. It's despicable. No wonder there's not enough money to take care of low-income people in terms of health care. No wonder Medicare is hurting in some areas. Look at all the fraud ripping off Medicare.
Now, of course, the Republicans don't really care about that. They just want to cut it. Period. They're not interested in getting the fraud out. They're not interested in getting the fraud out of the military budget or cutting that.
Oh, you can cut the military by $1 trillion, and you can pay off.
Not only that,
deficit. Pay off the deficit.
Here's some figures came out the other day.
It's despicable what happened.
It would have taken $125 billion. That's with a B. To bail out all the states that are having problems now and are cutting and laying off and firing and all the other stuff. It would have taken $125 billion to make them all whole.
Right.
But instead, we gave away trillions to the financial sector, the banks, the insurance, etc. You see, $125 billion would have made it all whole. Nobody would have lost a job in no state.
Wow.
But trillions had to go to Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs. Yeah. Not to mention the waste with the Iraqi war, the $1 trillion there. Not to mention, of course, Dr. Bill mentioned Wall Street bailouts, Goldman Sachs, waste again. And then you have the military spending in general. At least, what, a good $1 trillion waste?
I think it's 1.4 when you count it all up this year.
And that's
you could cut $800 billion from that without even blinking an eye.
Blinking an eye, and not hurting the military. And then you have all the offshore tax havens and the rich getting away with paying their fair share in taxes. You have lost money from that.
And the subsidies to the oil companies, and the tax breaks, etc., etc., etc.
Oh, unbelievable.
And it's unbelievable that people can't see this yet. It's as if a cloud has been pulled over the eyes. Revelation 12:9, the whole world is deceived.
Yeah, you middle-class fools, you lemmings, you Tea Party protesters don't see it.
Speaking of the Tea Party, they are going up to Wisconsin today
to
try to instigate and make trouble for those poor people over there, teachers and firemen and etc., who are protesting that bill that Governor Walker
Really? Well, let me tell you something, Tea Party troublemakers that want to go up to Wisconsin. Those people that are getting laid off are in Wisconsin. Okay, the cheese and ginseng capital of the United States, and
chewing tobacco. They grow a lot of
chewing tobacco, and the home of the Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers. Those Wisconsin residents that have lost their jobs and are protesting are very angry. So be careful, Tea Party people. You're going to go up there and try to cause problems and confront those protesters that are out of a job in Wisconsin. You might get your ass kicked. There might be a riot. Well, because if I was one of those teachers that was laid off by a scumbag right-wing Republican, okay, conservative, and some Tea Party protesters started getting in my face, not only will this shillelagh crack your skull wide open, I strangle your ass.
Now,
put you in a fucking chokehold.
Now, here's something very interesting.
Jiu-jitsu style. Fucking pricks.
No people in Wisconsin who are exercising their First Amendment right to protest.
Yeah.
Carried any guns to the event as the Tea Party people did during their little showcasings.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That was
Did you see them with the AK-47 on their shoulder, etc.?
Yeah, what are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? You know what? If there is if there is a civil war, I hope a lot of conservatives get taken out. But you know, unfortunately, progressive liberals don't have the balls. The Democrats, the progressive liberals, don't have the balls to go acquire an AK-47 and learn how to use it, unfortunately. But anyway, Christie,
oh, God.
the governor of New Jersey, I'm sorry. Well, it's New Jersey because so many New Jersey people still love him.
I think it's only 51% now. I think the latest poll.
Yeah, I just invented that. New Jersey.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. First it was Republican, then I invented the word Democrat for all the Democrats that sold out the voters and turned conservative.
Could we call Christie the Jersey Devil?
Oh, you're very smart. You are very highly intelligent, Reverend Dr. Bill. The Jersey Devil. Oh, you know what? This is why I love these shows. We just, you know, this is unrehearsed, man. It just, you have witnessed the birth of the Jersey Devil. Crisco, and I named him Crisco. You know, if you took the dark brown hair off of Christie, he looks like he can be on a Gerber baby food jar. Or,
yeah, right.
Remember the old box? Maybe the old box of Farina. They had the baby with the goldfish lips and the chubby cheeks. You know, like Cupid. You know, on Valentine's Day with the cheeks.
The Putti,
the god Putti from the Roman Empire. Yeah, he looks like that when he talks. He's like, Christie is upset at the MTV hit show Jersey Shore and wants to call New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and tell Andrew Cuomo, please take the cast of Jersey Shore back to New York, since most of them are from New York. The situation is from Staten Island. Snooki is from Poughkeepsie, New York. And even though it's kind of spelled Poughkeepsie, I don't know, Poughkeepsie. And the other guy is from Providence, Rhode Island. He's a New Englander. He's not even New York or New Jersey. Anyway, Christie has much bigger problems to worry about in the state of New Jersey than MTV's Jersey Shore. You hear that, Christie? You have much bigger fish to fry than to be worrying about a hit show that's bringing revenue to Seaside Heights, New Jersey, who has put Seaside Heights, New Jersey on the map, and all the businesses on the boardwalk of Seaside Heights is making money hand over fist because of the hit show from MTV Jersey Shore. So instead of worrying about that, he's trying to make it sound like the cast members from Jersey Shore are giving New Jersey a bad name. You know what's giving New Jersey a bad name, Christie? The fact that you're cutting all the social programs from the poor and cutting taxes from the rich. That is something to be ashamed of. Not worrying about what Snooki does in her, you know, and not worrying about what JWoww does, and not worrying about what the Situation does. Incidentally, congratulations, Situation. You did an excellent job on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, interviewing people at the Grammys. I thought you did it quite well, and good luck in your upcoming movie career. You know, you seem like a cool guy. And you know what, Christie, you got bigger problems to worry about.
Well, he needs, Chris Christie has to give a sop to the conservative right-wing so-called Christians.
They're very judgmental, the right-wing Republican conservatives, aren't they?
Run for president, you know?
Unbelievable. Now, of course, bipartisan politics extends the G.W. Bush tax cuts for the rich. That's not... Jersey Shore is a bad thing. But extending the tax cuts for the rich who do not deserve to receive a tax cut, that's not bad, okay? Now, cutting social programs is bad.
Robert Reich, who was, he was working for the Clinton administration, and he says we should go back to the times of Dwight D. Eisenhower, when the rate on the top rich was 91%.
Okay.
And 70%.
Right.
Says, and that erases the budget deficit 1, 2, 3.
Uh-huh.
And of course that's correct. Because for the last 30 years at least, the rich have never paid their fair share of taxes. Well, what do you expect that to do to the deficit? Plus adding 2 stupid wars and a Medicare Part D, which was not funded, No Child Left Behind unfunded, everything under George W. Bush was unfunded. But you notice nobody ever says anything about that.
No.
And attributes our problems today to what happened then. No.
No.
It's all Obama's fault.
So easy to blame Barack Obama, even though Barack Obama did fold like a cheap camera and sold out to the fat cats, to corporate America, to the conservatives in Washington, the new Republican Congress. He did sell out and felt guilty about being called a left-wing liberal, like it was a bad thing. It's bad.
Socialist.
It's bad to have compassion for the poor, Republicans. That's bad, right?
Yes.
You shouldn't feel guilty about that. You should feel more guilty of cutting the taxes from those scumbag, rich, greedy bastards, the idolaters.
And giving subsidies to
the love of money is idolatry. I'm sorry.
And giving subsidies to ExxonMobil.
Yeah. Because...
That's okay.
Which means that Obama, the Democrat, sold out his voters and is a businessman, is a corporatist, just like Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people are still brainwashed by the conservative lies, the conservative propaganda. People are still brainwashed to believe that cutting taxes from the rich will create jobs in the United States, and it does not, and
never
did not.
Has.
Never has.
And yet this lie persists. How do you explain it?
The jobs are outsourced. They're all outsourced. Remember the stupid Linda Lunchbox McMahon commercials about creating jobs? Jobs is number one. Yeah, the jobs are going to be created in India, in mainland China, and possibly Southeast Asia, where the labor is cheap. The ultimate goal of right-wing conservative Republicans is to eventually bring back slavery. Well, first, they want to destroy the minimum wage law. And unions. And
public sector.
And giving benefits.
Government.
No welfare, let the poor die off, cull the herd, right? No social...
they're not going to worry about the poor getting together and coming against them, because they're going to be living in gated communities surrounded by their paid-for security forces.
They better have a very big paid-for security force, because if there's if we have masses of very angry people that are desperate and they get weapons,
they think they can handle that. They think they can handle it.
But the thing is, it's like, it doesn't create jobs. It's bullshit. And it's a humongous sin for a filthy rich person or a corporation not to pay taxes. But Tea Party people, of misguided middle-class conservatives, are still sending me email over on YouTube saying that the rich pay the same percentage of taxes that the little guy pays. You believe that bullshit?
Well, if they do, that's a problem. They should be paying more.
They should be paying the original 91% tax rate of Eisenhower and Truman, FDR Truman. You know, I mean,
the tax system when it began, the income tax system when it began in 1913, taxed only people with money. That's what it's all about. So if you make more money, your taxes go up. Where's the problem here? The problem is propaganda, which has been sold to the little guy. And the belief that the little guy, somehow through magic, hey, call Harry Potter, you know, is going to become rich one day. Since the beginning of this country, maybe 10% of the little guys have ever made it up into the big guy circle. So your odds are almost like winning the Publishers Clearinghouse.
In other words, since the birth of the United States, only 10% historically ever increased their standard of living from the time they were born
to join the big boys, yeah.
To become part of the fat cats, the successful or elitist, whatever.
So you have a 90% chance of never doing it.
You see that? That whole pull yourself up by the bootstrap conservative propaganda is bullshit. It's a lie. It's hot air. You know, there's no opportunity before you. Where's the opportunities? The fat cats have all the opportunities and all the breaks. They're not going to give it to you.
And they keep it to themselves.
Once upon a time, you could start a small business without worrying about an expensive permit. You could sell out of the trunk of your car. You can walk around with a push cart. You don't have
one of them buses.
You don't have that.
Filled with vegetables. From Pennsylvania. Come down here from Pennsylvania.
You don't have that today. You don't have the mom and pop, you know, the local businesses. You don't have America depending on local businesses like they used to. You know, the little guy, you know, that was the backbone of America.
And once Walmart
entrepreneurs,
moves in,
mom and pop stores.
When Walmart moves in, all of that goes bye-bye.
And Walmart is not necessarily reasonably priced in everything they have. Their meat is expensive.
Well, meat is expensive because of crap, you know?
Yeah, but when you're the only person around and you put everybody else out of business, and you see the customers rolling into your big super corporate market, then they feel, well, we got them by the balls. Let's raise our prices and let's start price gouging.
All the competition is gone.
All the competition is gone. Then they price gouge, right?
Yep.
And
then they say, it's the market. It's the market. We can't help it. It's the market.
It's the market. It's the market. Let the buyer beware. It's the market. It's the market. Meanwhile, they have you by the short hairs, by the balls, and now they start to gouge you. But of course, conservative politicians and Republicans, they don't care. They don't care. Let them gouge. Deregulate corporations. Let them lie to you. Let the corporations rip you off continuously.
Let them take all their manufacturing overseas. So we have nothing here. And we become a third in the world nation.
Then who's going to buy their products, huh, fat cats? Who's going to have the money to buy your products?
I don't think they thought that one through.
That's too long term for them, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem of corporate America versus, let's say, the Japanese attitude towards running a business. They think long term. Okay, Korea, South Korea, long term. European Union, long term. But no, America thinks short term. How much can I screw out of the public now? How much can I save now? How much can I make now? And it's really horrible that now, all this collectively, I was thinking yesterday, Dr. Bill, okay.
Yeah, I smelled the burning.
The burning. Now, the love of money, which is supposed to be the root of all evil, is idolatry. One of the biggest, basic, primary sins of the Bible. One of.
First of the Ten Commandments.
Right, one of, okay. Now, the lack of money, which is also directly or indirectly the result of the love of money, because greed, love of money, greed, idolatry of the fat cats, and plus they don't pay taxes, plus they eliminate your social programs. Isn't that kind of like also, even though they're two opposite sides of the coin, the love of money, idolatry, sin, the lack of money causes a lot of problems like crime, okay? Isn't that also the result of the greed of the fat cats, which is the love of money? So they're both connected. They're opposites of one another, but in a way they're connected, right?
Well, it's like a Monopoly game where only one guy out of the four people who are playing has all the money. What kind of a game can you have?
He who has the most gold rules, the golden rule.
Yeah. But it's not good for an economy.
No.
See, there's no economy then. That's why our economy is driven by consumers. Maybe 70% of the economy, 75% is driven by consuming, by buying, by the little guy, the middle class, buying things that drive our economy.
Right.
Well, if you have the money all stored up in, let's say, the top 20%,
yeah.
Well, what's down here to circulate this economy?
Right.
And that's what our problem is. That's what is called stagflation.
Stagflation.
Now, today we're supposedly in a time of stagflation. Well, if that's true, then why are prices rising? Because whenever a price rises, it's called inflation, not stagflation.
Right.
We have prices rising today. Therefore, we have. So here's another one of those big lies being told to people. Propaganda out there to people. So much so that Social Security will not be paying a cost of living increase for 2 years because of supposed stagflation, which I just said does not exist.
You hear that? Tax cuts, more tax cuts for the rich, but no cost of living increase for people living on a fixed income. Very fair, isn't it, in capitalist America? Isn't it, Republicans and sellout blue dog dummy crats? Sounds like a real fair society, doesn't it? Huh. Unbelievable. But
also, back to your statements on the rich there, a biblical verse to be looked at in that instance is, he who makes haste to be rich shall not be innocent. Therefore, the Bible is saying that those people who have their focus on the almighty dollar, the idolatry, they are not innocent in doing so.
Right. Now that other verse from Proverbs, he who oppresses the poor
to increase his riches shall surely come to want.
And whoever gives to the rich shall surely come to want.
Yeah.
So to all you right-wing conservative fundamentalist Republicans that claim to be closer to God than us wicked secular humanist progressive liberals, you obviously do not know your Bible that well, right?
Well, they know it well enough that they want to change it.
They want to rewrite the Bible,
yeah,
which happens to be a violation of the last chapter of the book of Revelations. Read it. He who adds to this book or takes away from this book shall get his ass kicked big time by God. Well, it doesn't say, more or less, it doesn't say ass kick, but you read it, check it out. All right, now, the first art, high tea. Okay. High T.
High tea.
High T. Okay, and then you're going to start reading some articles?
For a little.
All right. Now, you want to read one article and then go to high T? Or you want to go to high T? Wait, what's the most hardest hitting, especially at conservative, like
we don't know. I have to go through here and take me.
Oh, okay. Which is this article?
Men who go bald in their early 20s have a doubled risk of developing prostate cancer. But those who lose their hair in their 30s and 40s apparently are not at greater risk.
Okay.
French researchers reported this week. The findings suggest that men who lose their hair very early in life might benefit from increased screening, because the same male hormones that are involved in hair growth also play a role in prostate cancer. Researchers have been tantalized by possible links between balding and prostate cancer, but past studies have yielded conflicting results or none at all.
I'm not urinating, folks. I'm just pouring my
Dr. Philip Garand,
antioxidant-rich tea. Yeah?
professor of radiation oncology at Paris Descartes University,
Yeah.
and Dr. Michael Yassa, Massa,
No, sir.
a radiation oncologist
Right.
at the University of Montreal, studied 388 men being treated for prostate cancer and 281 healthy men,
Right.
questioning about their history of hair loss. They reported in the Annals of Oncology that 37 of the men with prostate cancer had some balding at the age of 20. But only 14 of the healthy men had balding at that age. But there was no association with the type or pattern of hair loss. They reported, and no association with balding at older ages.
Okay.
PSA screenings for prostate cancer is generally not begun until men are in their 40s and 50s. But Garad and Yassa suggested that it might be useful to start it somewhat earlier for men who go bald in their 20s because of their increased risk.
Now, could this possibly be that male pattern baldness is created by an excess of dihydrotestosterone, and there could be a link between the dihydrotestosterone excess
And prostate cancer.
and prostate cancer?
Well,
Because when you have too much dihydrotestosterone, not only do you lose your hair, men, but you get enlargement of, or possibly both, and or both. They go hand in hand, enlargement of the prostate gland. And it's abnormal, of course, to have an enlargement of the prostate gland. So eventually, it's probably all tied in. Incidentally, those of you that are experiencing enlarged prostate and or male pattern baldness, being that I do a show called Health Talk, which is on the air today, and I filmed a brand new Health Talk yesterday, Friday, which can be seen on the internet. Okay? I would take a standardized extract of saw palmetto berry with Pygium africanum, and also try to find a good beta testosterol. There's a good one out by Natrol, I believe, that's reasonably priced. And take that supplement.
and pumpkin seeds.
Oh, don't forget, eat pumpkin seeds. Very good for male hormonal balancing and the prostate. Pumpkin seed oil, or just go to the market and buy the shelled seeds. Very nutritious. High in natural beta carotene too. Okay,
Eat more fiber and you may live longer.
I believe it.
That's the message from the largest study of its kind to find a link between high fiber diets and lower risk of death, not only from heart disease, but from infectious and respiratory illnesses as well.
Mm-hmm.
The government study also ties fiber with a lower risk of cancer deaths in men, but not in women. Possibly because men are more likely to die from cancers related to the diet, like cancers of the esophagus, and it finds the overall benefit to be strongest for diets high in fiber from grains. Most Americans are not getting enough roughage in their diets. The average American eats about 15 grams of fiber every day, much less than the daily recommended amount of 25 grams for women and 38 grams for men.
Mm-hmm.
In the study, the people who met the guidelines were less likely to die during a 9-year follow-up period. The men and women who ate the highest amount of fiber were 22% less likely to die from any cause compared with those who ate the lowest amount.
Interesting. Interesting. You got a small one to read before you take your...
2 more and that's it.
Your high tea.
Yeah.
High tea break.
High tea.
Green tea. His high tea, Dr. Bill's high tea is generally every day at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for those of you that are on the West Coast.
After a long-distance courtship, a NASA spacecraft is set to meet up with its celestial sweetheart, a comet, half the size of Manhattan.
Oh, gee.
That had an encounter with another spacecraft not long ago. The rendezvous between Stardust and comet Temple 1 occurs on Valentine's Day, some 210 million miles from the Earth. So in other words, it's happened already.
Oh, yeah. A lot of what astronomers see in their telescopes has happened in the distant past.
No, I mean now.
Oh, okay.
Valentine's Day, Monday.
Oh, this Valentine's Day. Okay.
Yeah, no, I have heard nothing more on it, though.
Well, I heard a doomsday asteroid barely missed the Earth, was it 1 or 2 years ago, whatever, and it was not in the mainstream news. It was not in the news at all. You know?
Hurtling at 24,000 miles per hour, Stardust will fly within 125 miles of the potato-shaped comet, snapping pictures along the way.
I love me shillelagh.
If successful, it will be the first time that scientists will have before and after images of Temple 1, allowing them to observe any changes on the uneven surface.
Right.
In 2005, Temple 1 received a not-so-loving visit from another NASA probe named Deep Impact, which fired a copper bullet into the comet on the 4th of July.
What?
That sparked cosmic fireworks and excavated a crater.
Wait a minute. A copper bullet. How big was this? How large was this bullet?
The high-speed crash hurled out so much dust and debris that Deep Impact failed to see the man-made hole, even as it beamed back dazzling pictures of other surface features.
Huh.
Stardust is expected to pass near the 2005 bullseye.
Me Stardust.
Comets, irregular bodies of ice and dust that orbit the sun, are frozen leftover building blocks of the solar system, which formed when a huge cloud of gas and dust collapsed about 4.5 billion years ago.
Interesting. And this is a copper bullet, not to be confused with the silver bullet used to kill werewolves. Yeah, but copper bullet, that must have been a big shell to do that to a comet. Wow. Shit. Anyway, high tea, right?
A mind is a terrible thing to scramble.
Really? Is this a cannibal's recipe book?
Doctors studying schizophrenia
I just thought that was funny.
have long warned that one of the worst things someone at risk for the disease can do is smoke marijuana.
Isn't that a medicinal herb, though, that should be legalized?
As research suggests...
Yeah, that was a funny joke, but Cannibal's Recipe... This guy didn't even laugh. Cannibal's Recipe
can
book.
hasten
Yeah.
the onset of the disorder.
Oh, man.
Skeptics point out that because males are more likely than females both to smoke pot and to develop schizophrenia earlier, the apparent causal link is merely coincidence. A new meta-analysis sought to settle the matter. Researchers at the University of New South Wales in Australia reviewed 83 studies excuse me, and found that pot smokers who developed psychotic disorders did so 2.7 years earlier than non-smokers. But the use of any illegal drug accelerated the onset of those diseases by 2 years. So pot's effect was only a bit worse. The greater risk may be to people with a family history of psychosis. For them, one study found pot sped up the onset of the disease by 3 years and worsened symptoms. The explanation may lie in the brain's endocannabinoid receptors, which respond to the active chemicals in pot and play a role in dopamine regulation, possibly increasing the likelihood of psychotic episodes.
Wow. Well, so much for schizophrenia. I wonder what the what our political leaders in Washington, I wonder what their excuse is. If it's not schizophrenia, it's got to be just maybe demonic possession.
Or psychosis.
Or psychosis.
Conservatism can be considered a psychosis.
And, you know, all politics is pathological.
That's correct.
In other words, a person who is elected to be a senator or a congress person, male or female, that sells out their voters and chooses profit over people, and sells out without remorse, without guilt, takes part in political corruption without guilt, is considered a psychopathic, or what's the term? Psychotic?
It's more like adherence to an ideology which cannot be proved in reality. You have a psychosis.
Right.
Clear and simple.
Or if the people really are conscious of what they do 100%, then it's just plain flat out evil.
Criminal.
It's criminal.
That's criminal.
Criminal and or evil.
Yeah.
You know,
if you know right from wrong, obviously it's criminal.
I mean, there are politicians like in Latin American countries that would think nothing than to steal money allocated to feed poor children. Would think nothing, from what I was told.
Yeah, but they kill people.
They kill men, women, children. But I'm just saying, there is a case where a politician in Colombia took money allocated to feed poor children and took all this food that was donated for poor children, and used it to feed his livestock so he can make a profit for himself, and the hell with starving children.
Well, Reagan tried to do that for his body.
Capitalist country. George Bush was really tight with this Colombia, because I think it's the last capitalist, supposedly democratic, supposedly,
you know what it means when they say capitalist?
In Latin America.
You know what it means when they say capitalist?
What?
That means they got the dictator to allow the big our corporations to come in there and sell stuff. That's all that means.
So
there's no democracy or that crap.
So capitalism just simply means that you've embraced big business into your dictatorship. Well, look at China.
China's communist.
Right.
And they're the biggest capitalists, for Christ's sake. Come on.
Yeah, you know, I'm confused now. Mainland China, Red China, Mao Tits Tung, I'm sorry.
Mao Zedong.
Mao Zedong and all that stuff. they're so much against Taiwan because Taiwan is not communist. But now all of a sudden, business is booming. Capitalism is embraced. Free market, capitalism is embraced in China. Shanghai looks more like New York City now, with bright lights, neon, and flashing lights, and
huge skyscrapers.
Huge, tall skyscrapers, big business. China's the superpower, is the new economic superpower of the world. Now China doesn't want to lend any more money to the United States. No more U.S. Treasury bonds for China. They must know that it's a bad investment, right?
The U.S. is on the way out.
It's on the way out, brother. It's biblically prophesized. United States and Great Britain. You've heard it from the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenmann. It's biblically prophesized. The Great Britain and the United States are modern-day descendants of the 10 cursed tribes of ancient Israel, Ephraim and Manasseh. You hear that? Holy roller, right-wing fundamentalist, born-again, red state Christians. Ephraim and Manasseh, the United States, along with Great Britain, are destined to fall. Bible prophecy from the mouth of God himself. So, and hold on. So maybe it's prophesized that right-wing fundamentalist conservative Republicans take over Washington again, and it all falls into place. It's all prophesized. If progressive liberals took over Washington and the rich started paying their fair share in taxes and all the social programs compassionately were returned, then everything would be hunky-dory in America, right? But then how would the end times take place? The apocalypse, the end times, the tribulation, it wouldn't take place because everything would be peachy keen. There would be the beast and the Antichrist there would be no reason for them to do their dirty deeds.
Matthew 24, when Jesus comes, he's not coming to a world that will embrace him. He's coming to a world in great tribulation. At the point, World War III, at the point where man would be able to annihilate himself from the face of the earth.
And you said Jesus will be looked upon as an
alien, the Antichrist.
So you believe that Jesus, the second coming of Jesus, that will be the Antichrist.
It will be at that time, the Asian hordes and the European beast will be at each other's throats. However, when Jesus comes and then establishes himself at Jerusalem, those two armies, because they will feel that they have been invaded by an alien force, will now march on Jerusalem to begin warring against Jesus and the elect.
The king of the south, which is probably...
The south will already be destroyed.
From the king of the north, the European Union.
Correct.
With the Roman Catholic Church. The second and last revival of the Holy Roman... The seventh of the Holy... Wait a minute. We're talking about...
Seventh revival of the Holy Roman Empire.
Seventh revival of the Holy Roman Empire. King of the north defeats king of the south, which is fundamentalist...
Probably
extreme
led
Islam.
by Iran.
Probably led by Iran, and defeat them. And then the Asian hordes is Gog and Magog, isn't it?
And they will say, hey, what's going on down there? This European beast is getting a little too rambunctious. And they will come down to meet them. God will dry up the Tigris and Euphrates so that they will be able to pass over. And they will come down to confront each other. However, when they see this occurrence of this alien descending upon the earth and his elect going up to meet him, they will think that they are being invaded.
Right.
And they will then work together to go against Jesus in Jerusalem.
Now Gog and Magog will defeat the king of the north? Or no, they'll join.
They will join together.
Join together.
And Jesus will defeat them.
Oh, okay.
With
Jesus.
the plagues that he would give.
Okay. And that's Armageddon, right?
Yeah, that's what they call Armageddon.
That's what they call Armageddon. Okay, we got to take a break. High tea. Okay. I was having a little debate back and forth with Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenmann about independent candidates, and Dr. Bill says, since all politics is pathological, you have to be above politics, and backing an independent candidate who sounds really nice may not be the answer, because as long as you're involved in politics, there's a temptation to go astray, I guess, and to be corrupted, and unfortunately it takes money to get your message across and to win the elections, and with money there's evil and the devil and Satan and blah 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 blah. So the only hope we have is the second coming of Christ. Is that what you're basically trying to tell me?
That's what the Bible says, not me.
Oh yeah, the Bible says, right?
If it were up to me, I would try to make the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah, so in other words, even though we would like to see a progressive liberal independent get in, it's no guarantee that is going to be the answer. And unfortunately, because you see struggling middle class Tea Party idiots, protesters like the ones that want to go up to Wisconsin, you see them voting Republican. That's proof that human nature is not only evil and vile and despicable, they're also quite stupid. Otherwise, why on earth would a middle-class person who is practically on the verge of losing their home, why on earth would they vote Republican? Why? They don't have their best interests at all, because they believe the tax burden should be on the middle class and the poor and not on the rich. So you figure. But they keep on voting Republican. It's just illogical, as Mr. Spock would say on Star Trek. It's illogical. We're not psychologists, so I don't even know if psychologists have the answer. But anyway, you have any psychological theory as to why people go against their best interest?
No, and it's not necessary to know it. It's necessary to know that they do it. And then there has to be a way to stop them from doing it.
Yeah.
And the only way in our society is to present the person with the two sets, one facts, one propaganda. Let's now examine and investigate which of these two sets of propositions is true.
There can only be one real truth. And like my sister said, when you deal with the truth, only the truth, and you stick to it, I mean, that's your best strategy. You can't go wrong with the truth, unless of course you have a bunch of rich conservatives trying to rewrite the truth, or not giving you with the truth a chance to get the message out. Well,
as Fox News does every single day.
Like Fox News does, with that idiot.
So how do you expect those people
Bill
who watch
O'Reilly
Fox to know anything?
Yeah, and the conservative coven of witches, and the whole lot of them, all of them. And Weeper of the House saying, "You bet we're going to be making a lot of cuts." Oh, sure you are. But the thing is, this is what we have. We have the internet. We have no FCC, no corporations to control this message for now. And because if it wasn't for the internet, you'll have to totally depend on the second coming of Christ to kick ass, because that's the only hope. Anyway, this is it. The foundation of our organization. Get it now. Get your annual subscription with your gift to support this work. www.newslettercensored.com. Take care and be safe. Hey, I may grow asparagus since it's early spring and my perennial herb garden is starting to come alive a little bit. Maybe I'll try asparagus. You like asparagus?
Hate it.
because it's green, right?
Hate it.
I hear it's very medicinal and nutritious, but I like
Also a diuretic.
it. Right, and it makes your urine stink like the high heavens. But
That too.
it comes back every year. It's perennial. I think the variety is called Mary Washington. Anyway, we'll see you. Say so long to everybody.
Hasta la vista.
All right.